They say that smell is the strongest memory trigger, but nobody talks about what food brings back. Today's episode is called Unforgettable Memories because some work memories, they don't clock out when you do. This is the Grub and Grind where food meets the hustle. Once again, my name is Uzyiah and welcome to episode 2 of the Grub and Grind. Today's episode is about unforgettable memories, but I put a play on words, unforgettable memories, because today I woke up and I am feeling a little bit under the weather. And every time that I have pho, it reminds me of the times that I do end up getting sick, and it helps me get better, stay strong, and be able to do what I have to do at work. Now, every time I eat pho, it takes me back to work. Not vacations, not parties, but work. hmm hmm Late nights, long shifts, being tired, but still showing up. Pho brings me back to the time that way back in the day when I first started in the kitchen, when I used to watch, I still watch. I watch this guy named Quang Tran on YouTube, and he has like, I would say 50 episodes on pho. And I remember all those times that he would make it, and I thought to myself, man, I wonder what that tastes like. And during all those times, he would make it so easy how to make pho, but I never wanted to tackle it, and I never wanted to actually make it myself and replicate it. And I remember staying up late night watching him and wanting to one day to meet him so I could actually firsthand. I know that he does it on YouTube, but I want to see firsthand, step by step, every hour on the hour how he did it, because it looked so delicious the way he made it. It was, I was just salivating towards that. Now, years later, I remember that my roommate was like, man, I really want some pho, but I don't want to go all the way to Chicago to get some pho. And I was like, you know what? Let's make it. It takes a couple hours. Not a couple, it takes a lot of hours to make, actually. And I told him, let's do it, tonight, and we should have it tomorrow. He said, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I remember we got all this stuff and we just went on and did it. And I think it took us like 12 hours to make the pho broth. And it would just constantly be in the kitchen. And I had it for the first time. And I will tell you, ever since then, I have not looked back. And I truly enjoyed it. Pho to me is literally one of those things where I can eat it any day of the week, Monday through Sunday, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like, it is something that I truly believe that you can eat it whether you're feeling under the weather or you're just hungry. Like, this to me would be like the best post meal workout as well. I remember the first time I was at my job and I was so exhausted because this day, it was one of those days where we got slammed in the kitchen hard. Like, I'm talking about party after party after party. And then we had the people that dined in. Then we had DoorDash and Grubhub, deliveries. And mind you, in this kitchen that I worked at, it's kind of small and it's only for 2 cooks. And the menu wasn't as big as you think it is. When you get hit with rush hour, it is one of those things where it humbles you quickly. Like, you could be the best person, you can understand what you're doing with work order. It will humble you so quickly. I remember I was cleaning the kitchen. I was cleaning the kitchen and I was mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. And my wife was like, what are we going to eat? And I was like, shoot, man, I really don't want to cook. I was like, she was pregnant with her second child. And I remember I was like, I don't want to cook. I don't, I'm exhausted. I'm sure I'm not going to make her cook. Man, I don't want McDonald's. I don't want anything. And I remember that there's a location right next door to my job, and they sold pho, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call in, ordering pho, telling my wife, and try to explain to her what pho is, and she's like, yeah, 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 because we both watch Kwang Tran, and she's like, yeah, I'm down. Let's get it. Let's eat it. And we ordered it, and I remember I sat down, she sat down, we just like this, you know, Ziploc bags. We have bean sprouts, which I'm gonna put some more on my pho right now. We would have lime, which I'm gonna squeeze some right now. They would give us packets of sriracha and hoisin, but I have my own right here. And every time that I wanted spicier, they would have this sauce, this hot sauce that was really, really, really spicy. Now, for the sake of the audience and for everyone that is listening to me, I'm not gonna put the chili sauce on it because I don't want you constantly just hearing me, you know, um, doing that. I remember sitting down, and I remember my head is ringing from the tickets, um, from the constant bing, bing, bing. I remember just hearing that bing, 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 and the decibels in my ears, just like the kitchen fan and everything, just loud. When you're done with your job, and then you're trying to come down from leaving the kitchen, it's very hard because everything's still too loud. So I remember trying to sit down, setting everything up with the TV dinner tables, me and my wife sitting down in our living room with our kid. It reminded me of the times where I can always rely on this. It's so rewarding that it brings me back to the times where we didn't have money, the times that we didn't have enough, and pho takes me back to those days where I didn't want to cook. Pho was there. I didn't want to spend too much money. Pho was there. Uh, I felt under the weather, or my wife felt under the weather. Pho was also there. One work moment that I will never forget. It was good in a good way. It was very one of those things where it was a win for me. I knew that I was cut out for this. Going back to the last episode, I previously talked to you that I have a coworker that he became my best friend, my brother. And I remember during these times, it was Easter, and at this restaurant, it was again me and him prepping, cooking Sunday, and we got slammed hard. Like we're talking about slammed above slammed. And the way that we did things is that where I worked, I was in charge of like the sweets. So I did pancakes, French toast, crepes. I was also in charge of the deep fryer. I was also in charge of the gravy, the glazes, tuna salad, a bunch of things, right? And he was in charge of like the bigger, heavy set things like skillets and omelets and eggs and paninis and sandwiches and salads. Even he did a majority of the things. Now Easter, imagine this: we start at 6 in the morning. We got slammed starting at 7, and it didn't. We had like a break, cut off break at noon, where we ran out of everything, and I had to go into the walk-in, grab all the things, replenish everything, put everything in the dish, in the dishes, and come back and just keep doing the tickets, right? While he's just like this guy was like one hand he's flipping eggs, and the other hand he's tossing to make an omelet. And I'm just like, bro, that's crazy. Like I remember just running and doing this and going back and forth and just being like boom, 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 boom. And before that, every time that we would get slammed, we would get caught because I didn't have enough experience. So I was already ready with pancake batter. I was ready with everything. Like I overstocked. I made sure that I was good and ready to go. And then we're doing everything, and I start noticing that we're not getting behind. And I start noticing that I'm focused. I'm like locked in. I'm like, I got this. I got this. Boom, 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 boom. You need to set a pancake, Scotty. I'm on it. And he, my friend, he would handle the tickets. Like he would expedite it. So as soon as we set the whole order, he would do it. At the end of the day, you know, noon hit, and then we replenished. Then we got bam, 10 minutes later, bam, again, boom, 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 until we closed at 3 o'clock. Man, if I told you in that kitchen, we were sweating. Like, I had to like throw myself on the floor. Like, I have never cooked so fast, so consistent in my life. And that day, he looked at me and he was like, I'm proud of you, bro. Go work. And those words coming from someone that I respect dearly meant so much to me because this person has years, we're talking decades of experience under his belt in the kitchen. And when I got, I'm proud of you, good work today, like you did amazing. I took that as, man, if I'm able to do this and getting compliment like that, I can do this. Like I'm ready for it. And moments like that, when I eat pho, when I have to sit down and relax and just have a moment to myself with the family, those are the thoughts that come into my mind while I eat this because I'm like, those moments are worth it. And it's weird that a single dish will do that to me, where it will take me to those moments, A memory that I wish I could forget. Same kitchen, same friend, same brother. I remember. This is so stupid. I don't know why I would say this. I remember we were under the weather, and our manager at the time, he went to go buy some menudo and got me and my friend menudo before we started working. And like pho, we had some chilies. Now, I put the chilies in a paper, like in a paper towel, to make sure that it didn't hit the cutting board, because I was in charge of fruits. I was in charge of like sweets. So I definitely did not want anything spicy on people's yogurt parfait or anything like that, right? Or their French toast. We start service. The first people that literally come in, they sit in the bar on the bar. It's an open kitchen so they can see us cook. This couple, I still remember them. I still remember what they ordered. The husband ordered a country fried steak with biscuits and gravy and extra crispy hash browns, and he had like a coffee and orange juice. His wife had toast, coffee, and a yogurt parfait. Now, this was during hustle and bustle time, and I'm like, when I turn around, this is like the my grill, whatever. And then I turn here, here's the cutting board, and I'm pop, 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 chopping, putting everything. And then right here is to expedite, right? I'm like, strawberries, pop, 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 making it beautiful. Bam, go. He already had his plate up there. Boom, go. He expedites. I'm already cooking and I'm in my groove already, right? I start looking up and I see this lady starting to turn red. And then I see her, she's asking for napkins. And I was like, that's odd. And I'm like, okay. The manager comes up to me and he says, hey, Uzi, by chance, did you clean the cutting board before you uh, started cutting? And I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, the lady found some chili flakes in her yogurt parfait. I was like, what? And my friend looked at me and he was like, gave me a face like, you did not. And I was like, oh my gosh. And when I looked up, she was bright red, like she couldn't breathe, and she was like like she couldn't breathe. And I felt so bad because I was like, I swore I had these chilies in a paper towel, and then I discarded them, and I made sure I didn't use a knife, I didn't use anything. I'm like, what could it be? I washed my hands. I made sure, like, what I mean, she's like literally turning bright red, so it is my fault. And I'm like, what the heck? So he's like, you gotta expo another yogurt parfait. I said, yeah, just on the house, my bad. And I'll never forget, since that day, like I said, we'll bring him on the podcast one day. But that was one of the things where he clowns me every time. He's like, remember you gave this lady a spicy yogurt parfait? And people be like, what? I was like, man, shut up, leave me alone. Like, whatever, bro. Like, it could happen to anybody. And he's like, no, 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 no. It doesn't happen to anybody. It happens to you, my boy. Not just random people. So yeah, I remember that. Now, the most humbling one, the one that really burnt me, and still to this day, it imprinted in me, is same restaurant, same coworkers. One day, I wasn't um I wasn't there mentally in the kitchen, and I was getting behind in the kitchen, and at that day I was burnt out. I was done. You know, the pressure of the kitchen, the pressure of the drama, the pressure of everything, like I was done. I remember that day I literally sat there, and my friend looked at me, and he looked at me and he says, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you need to lock in, you need to do what you're doing. Like, you said you wanted this, right? Huh? This is what you wanted, then snap out of it. Like, I don't know what you're going through, but don't bring this here. People come here to eat their food and have a good time, and you need to remember that. You need to remember this is what you wanted to do. And I remember getting one thing, two things, three things, four things. I think I got like the most I've ever had was like six things, which was that day, returned back to me, that it wasn't to the customer's liking. And I remember he told me, like, at the end of the day, and he like scolded me and told me, like, this kitchen is top notch, and this is what you wanted to do, and this is like, in a way, he wasn't talking down to me, but he was telling me, like, what are you doing? Like, snap out of it. Like, you have to remember, these are people that come and they want to eat our food, and you just gave them a bad experience. Because why? Like, we're human. I get it. We have crap going on outside of our lives, but it is our duty to make memories for other people. And what are you doing? You're spitting on what my work, and you're spitting on your work, and you're saying I don't care. At that moment, I didn't say it. I stood quiet and I bit my lip, because I was like, man, who does this guy think he is? But I remember the next day I went up to him and I said, you know what, bro? Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I needed that. I needed that. I needed to be reminded of what why I was here. You know, failure has a way to stick harder than success. And the reason why I feel like pho is so dear and near to my heart is because, fast forward, when I worked at this restaurant and they were right next door to us, I would see the coworkers coming in at 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, when I would get there too, to prep, and they would start doing their banh mi, the buns. But I could smell it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that smells so good. I can smell the spices, I can smell everything that they did. They made it homemade. And I remember I was like, man, what a job. Like, what a privilege we have. We get to come here, and me as a cook, they're doing the same thing, and I love their food. And it made me reflect, like, as much as I love pho, how many people are like, man, I love those pancakes, I love those crepes, I love those the omelet, I love those things. And still to this day, I don't quit because of it. I got better. Some memories hurt, but they will sharpen you. For those that are watching, comment down below on what was one of the most unforgettable moments that you've had, moments that stuck with you, failures that stuck with you, even memories that were a huge win for you as well. And those that are listening on Spotify or Apple Music, feel free to come over here or DM us and let us know on our social medias, what was your story, what was your memories, and we will gladly put it on the next episode coming up. If you're in a job right now that you hate, just know this: one day it'll either be a lesson or a story, but it won't be wasted unless you quit learning. Some memories fade, some stick, and some are unforgettable. Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 2, Unforgettable Memories. I'm gonna go finish this bowl of pho. And as always, this was the Grub and Grind. I'm Uzyiah. This is where food meets hustle. Have an amazing rest of your day. See ya.